So just wow, my volume was loud. So just real quick, why New Year's Eve is so big right now. And so in No Time to Die, when Q's team track Bond on Saffin's Island, he appears as the blue psi trident symbol on display, which Q identifies as the trident because of its unique biological structure, so on and so forth. But you see the psi symbol, they're giving you the trident right there with their AI overview. And all I did was just search in No Time to Die when they were tracking Bond. He is the psi, and it spelled out side, but PSI, he is the trident, was the rest of the search. So, confirmed. Poseidon is represented by the trident. Right there. Confirmed. The Poseidon Adventure 1972 took place during its final New Year's Eve cruise from New York to Athens. It was a fictional movie. The Poseidon Adventure was a fictional movie. Yes. So it was all fiction. It was all based off of a New Year's Eve event. In the Poseidon Adventure, what day were they rescued? So they were rescued New Year's Day. The event took place New Year's Eve. So one thing I'm looking at is possibly event on New Year's Eve, pronounced dead on New Year's Day, rising on the third day, unless the event is New Year's Eve, pronounced dead on New Year's Eve, and it's just 3 full days. There's a lot of debate, and I did this on a Bible study whether it was 3 full days or on the third day, and long story. In IPEC Goat, this event of it taking place on New Year's Eve and him rising up on a full moon, rising on the third day, fulfills both ciphers in IPEC Goat. So right smack in the middle, whoops, wrong one. Right smack in the middle of IPEC Goat, it's 727 in length, so at the 343 and a half, 344, which is dead center, you'll see the New Year's Eve blower come out because there's fireworks, but fireworks could be 4th of July or New Year's Eve, but you'll see the New Year's Eve blower go for Day of the Dead. Now, there's 3 different New Year's. There's the Celtic New Year, which is Day of the Dead, October 31st, but really November 1st, November 2nd. Now remember, Halloween, October 31st, the 10th month as we write it, but December, decade, decameter was once the 10th month, like October, octagon, octopus, 8 was once the 8th month. September, October, November, December were all pushed up to make room for Julius Augustus, July and August. That's why 9/11, 7/11, November 7th, and why the Twin Pines are knocked down on 11/5, because rising represents 11/7. 9/11 is opposite 3/11 on a circular calendar. One World Trade Tower opened on 11/3. 3/11 was when they declared the illness worldwide. 2 days later, we're on LOCKDOWN. 3/13 is the Zapruder film Headshot Wound. So the AI made sure that everything's been tied together perfectly because it's the ghost in the machine. Satan's writing the script for Mystery Babylon to just follow. So there's a Chinese New Year, total solar eclipse coming up on that one, February 17th, if not mistaken. All solar eclipses are new moons. It is delivering a total lunar eclipse. Hang on a second. It's not a total solar. It's a ring of fire. Ring of fire solar eclipse, which is almost a total, and it's delivering the total lunar eclipse in March. So Chinese New Year's big, and always the Celtic New Year is a high watch day because of this iPet goat video. And of course, this could be our New Year's Eve, just representing the Day of the Dead or when the deadly wound takes place. Now we can go to an iPet goat. He comes up through rising up through Disney's Frozen. This is at the North Pole, Santa Satan. So he's coming up through the abyss. That's where the abyss is, at the center of the circle of the earth. And you see the right eye wound. And he's rising, and the Dark Knight Rises came out 2 days after the Dark Knight. Dark Knight representing darkened right eye, Donnie Darko representing, the darkened eye Bible verse, Zechariah 11:17, that the idle shepherd receives, that his right eye is utterly darkened. That's why the Heidi Bowl with the Raiders and the Jets. Jets are what killed Donnie Darko. The Jets are what brought down the twins. And so they had the Heidi Bowl on 11/17 for the Bible verse, Zechariah 11:17 in 1968, which was the year 2001 A Space Odyssey came out. It was the RFK event and the MLK event. Don't get me started on those. So The Dark Knight Rises came out on July 20th. The Dark Knight came out on July 18th, signifying rising on the third day. This will be when Satan is possessing the body, which is what Heisman Trophy is. Heisman is spelled he is man. Who is man? Satan is now man. And so with this right eye wound, he's rising up through a full moon. And if the event takes place on New Year's Eve to New Year's Day, the full moon is on the third day. It's January 3rd. So January 1st to January 3rd or New Year's Eve, late night. And there's your full moon that he's rising up through. Full moon, January 3rd, 2026.
According to when the curves line up,
So there it is.
Third, the full moon is 25 degrees above the east-northeast horizon and lies below the Jupiter-Pollux line. The three bodies span nearly 7.0 degrees, fitting tightly into the same binocular field. January 4th, the bright moon, now slightly humped, gibbous, is 13 degrees above the east-northeast horizon.
Okay. So it's just saying it goes to a gibbous moon on January 4th, but it's a full moon on January 3rd. So you can see it's interesting that this AstroSeek has January 3rd full moon at 10:02. That's the Donnie Darko date, October 2nd. And when you spell out October, SECOND, in simple gematria, it comes to 138, which matches DONALD Trump. It's a direct hit. It's a direct match. That's why Donnie Darko's big date was October 2nd. It's also why the Ghost in the Machine album came out on October 2nd, 1981. So you can see why all the ciphers that we look at, why a New Year's Eve event. One person said to me, he's got to be somewhere. If he's not somewhere, I'm not looking at a date. And so he has to be somewhere. Well, on New Year's Eve, of course, he's going to be somewhere. I'm sure at a New Year's Eve event, most likely the White House, where there's no ballroom yet. But anywho, That's why New Year's Eve is a very high watch date. You always want to look at January 15th, rising on January 17th, which is 11:7 code, which is the Bible verse about the rising from the pit. Of course, that's not really the Antichrist that's rising. If it's a symbol of the Antichrist rising, that's really during God's wrath. And the abomination of desolation is well over with by then. But for some reason, that's always attributed to, at least in their world, the rising. And that's what Disney's Frozen is about. It is, or why they call our God Mr. Freeze, just like Jesus is the Riddler because he speaks in parables. So that center of the circle of the earth is melted away and the abyss is opened, I believe, 2 days after they do this right eye wound to the twin, to the clone, to the body double, whatever it is. That's what the twins were about. And what rose up was One World Trade Tower or Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, followed by Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. So the return is the rising. The twins come down. What comes up? One World Trade Tower, the Dark Knight rises. So that's all parallels to this rising event. So I would definitely tell you, uh, well, anyway, the next high watch day for me would then be getting over to this Groundhog Day. On the film Groundhog Day, on the movie marquee, it said Heidi 2. Well, there was no Heidi 2 film. And I can show you that real quick. Hang on. So I snapped that with my cell phone when watching Groundhog Day. Heidi 2 is on the movie marquee. Now, Saturday is the day of the full moon. Saturday, Sunday matinee. And here's your program for November 17th, 1968. You can see November 7th, it's the Jets Raiders. You just Google Heidi Bowl or Heidi Game and click images, and the program will come up. And that's why they were always called the New York Jets, because of the Jets and New York. I think they've now named a hockey team Jets also, but it's like nothing's ever been named the Jets before, but there you go. And yeah, what else? So that's pretty much everything. That's just why we're looking. Yeah, and then I would go on and start looking at February 1st, rising on February 3rd, in sync with the movie Groundhog Day, because it began on February 1st and he was stuck on February 2nd, and then he went back forward again on February 3rd. So rising on February 3rd. Also looking at the 13th, and of course the total solar on the 17th. Anything around that time frame is gigantic, along with the total lunar in March, yes. And then I always look at the flower full moon as a rising day. And but then there is a total solar eclipse on August 12th, which is also the day Sirius the Dog Star rises. Now, I would think that would be perfect for the abomination of desolation if the event is to take place now. But if nothing happens between now and then that, of course, that time frame would also be a very high watch date. All right. Anyway, love y'all.